Russian Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov issues a blunt warning from Moscow, squarely aimed at Europe. Lavrov said Western pressure and strategy against Moscow is built on belief that does not exist. The Russian foreign minister accused European politicians of stirring what he called anti-Russian hysteria while secretly doubting their own plans. He said they constantly demand Russia's money be taken, something President Vladimir Putin has described as outright robbery. Lavrov said these leaders support Ukraine only to keep the conflict with Russia intact. Speaking on Wednesday, Lavrov said Russia's domestic diplomacy has a clear priority. He said its central task is to support fighters in what Moscow calls the special military operation. Lavrov argued recent diplomatic shifts prove a single truth, that conviction decides outcomes. He warned they do not truly believe their strategies are workable and said that lack of belief already condemns them. Lavrov added that recent developments prove one simple truth, that conviction shapes outcomes. He said, when you believe your cause is right and understand what you are working for, and when you know what Russian soldiers on the front line are fighting for, diplomacy also falls into place. Lavrov said belief in the mission and belief in the cause entrusted to you is the key to success. Lavrov's warning comes amid a fresh outburst from U.S. President Donald Trump directed at Europe and the NATO alliance. Posting on Truth Social, Trump lashed out at the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, saying he doubts NATO would come to America's aid in a moment of real need. Trump, whose renewed threats to seize Greenland from NATO member Denmark have unsettled allies, said he doubted Europe would be there for the United States if Washington truly needed support. Lavrov's remarks also come as divisions deepen within the European Union over using frozen Russian assets to fund Ukraine and over providing long-term security guarantees to Kyiv.
A different approach for assets held in Belgium and those held in other European Union countries would drastically increase the risk of Russian countermeasures specifically against Belgium, and that too is unacceptable. If we jump, we all jump together. Belgium will not accept a solution where we alone bear both the risks and the responsibility.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has already warned Europe that using those frozen assets would amount to robbery.
Theft is a secret stealing of property. In our case, they are trying to do it openly. It is robbery. This is dealing not only an image blow, but undermining confidence in the Eurozone. No matter what and how they steal, they will need to give it back at some point. Besides, we will defend our interests in courts. We will try to find a jurisdiction which will be independent of political decisions.
Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says peace negotiations have entered a new phase. Speaking at a ceremony marking Cyprus taking over the 6-month presidency of the European Council, Zelensky said talks have reached a new level of intensity and expressed hope the war could end during Cyprus's term.
For Ukraine, this moment is really very meaningful, just as it is for Cyprus, a member state that unfortunately remains divided but committed to lasting peace and is fully equal in Europe, and a country that may be smaller in size but has an equal voice in European institutions. This says a lot about what Europe truly is, that every nation matters and every free country in Europe deserves to be part of our shared European home. And that is what makes Europe stable and peaceful. Ukraine also deserves this to be an equal part of our common European home, and we hope that your presidency will be productive in moving us forward on this path. At the same time, as Cyprus begins its presidency, peace negotiations have reached a new level of intensity. We work very, very actively, Ukraine, our European partners, and of course the United States and all members of our coalition of the willing, from Canada to Japan, from the EU to Australia, and it is possible. And we sincerely hope that this war could end during your presidency. And of course, only if enough pressure is put on the aggressor. And we all understand how wars like this one, Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine, our people, our children, come to an end. And when pressure is strong enough to exhaust the source of the war, peace comes. That pressure exists now, and the EU plays a key role in maintaining it. And I thank you.